Okay, so here's the thing is what we're going to be talking about really is take the low carb challenge. What we're talking about is very simple. It's just a matter of getting the information and applying it. Once you have the information, then you can apply it to your life. So how many people have tried this? Just eat less, what? Exercise more. How many people have been told this model? Everyone has been told this model. Doc, I'm just overweight. I can't lose weight. And they say what? Stop eating and exercise more. Okay, so this model has completely failed. There are so many studies on this model of eating less, exercising more, and people always do what? They always wait. Okay, so here's what happens. When you do this, when you eat less and exercise more, there's a thing in your body called the metabolic rate. Okay, that's basically, we're just engines. Just envision us as an engine. All right, so if we need 1,500 calories, so our engine is at 2,000, and then we start eating 1,500, what do you think happens to our energy output? It goes what? Down. Okay, so then, now that you have this set point, instead of 2,000, you're at 1,500, right? So then maybe initially weight loss, you might happen initially, right? Initially might happen, but then when you try and maintain it, this 1,500, what happens to your weight? It slowly does what? Goes up. Okay, because we don't want to have your metabolic rate set low. We want to have that metabolic rate set high. So this is the new model. Okay, there's a new model of weight loss, healthcare, getting better, and it is the what? It is the what model? The hormone model, and the number one hormone that we're going to be talking about is what? Insulin. Okay, now just raise of hands. How many people are familiar with what insulin does in your body? Just raise your hand just so I can see. Few people. Okay. So we're going to be really diving in what the hormone model is, and it's all about insulin. Now this next slide here, I haven't showed this for a while, but I'm just going to show this now because what I'm going to be really talking about is really dear to my heart. And the reason why this is this is a picture taken in high school. Okay, so guess who this is? Yours what? Truly. Okay, that's me. Okay, now that's when I had a full set of hair. Okay, it was very thick and I had a butch top. So my first name being Hugh, what do you think my nickname was? Was what? Huge. Okay, H-U-G-E. That's what my nickname was? Huge. So here's my kind of story is, my mom and dad were both obese. My mom's still obese. And really what happened is I saw my dad sick and suffering. And then I went up to the boundary waters. And sometimes people just have epiphanies. Like sometimes they just realize something and something clicks and they change their life forever. Something like boom, like I don't know if you've tried to stop smoking. Like some people just get up and they just throw the cigarettes in the trash and it's over. They had an epiphany. So when I went up to, when I was in basically high school, I went up to the boundary waters. And within like 3 days, I'd lost 10 pounds. And because I was a big kid, I had the canoe. How many people portage? Does anyone like, okay, so you have the canoe and then you have the pack, right? And then you portage. So since I was the big, fat, heavy kid named Huge, guess what I got? I got the canoe and the what? Backpack. So I'm like doing this like for 3 days. I come back and I lost 10 pounds. So ever since then, I've really been on a quest to help as many people as possible and get in natural health care. So you might think up here, oh yeah, he's pretty lean. He looks like he's in good shape. Believe me, I have to work on it every single day of my life. Okay, every day I'm concentrated on my weight and my health. I think in life you have like, I don't know, maybe you have the Uncle Bob. The Uncle Bob that smokes 2 packs a day and drinks a bottle of whiskey a day and lives till 95. Okay, you have some of these people that just do this, right? And then you have these people that exercise and all this stuff. And then there's some people that just have a tendency to put more weight on easily. You look at food, you kind of gain weight. That's me, right? So what I'm talking about is these strategies I'm talking about, I apply to myself because I'm 45 now, and believe me, it's been easier for me to gain weight in the last couple of years than it has before. So then I'm conscious about what am I doing? What's not working for me? What am I missing here? And then I took a vacation a couple weeks ago, last week actually. And I read these 2 books, okay? And they're by the same author. These are really good books, Dr. Jason Fung, an MD, the Obesity Code, and then the Diabetes Code. And like one thing when it comes to my education, like I really geek out. Like if I exercise, I listen to like educational stuff. If I drive to work, I'm listening to educational stuff. If I'm going to the grocery store by myself, I listen to educational stuff. So I'm always trying to expand my knowledge. So these 2 books came in my lap 2 weeks ago. And I would say like the 10 years that I've been really doing functional medicine, these 2 books have like aligned everything. The stars have been aligned and everything started clicking to me on what's actually missing. okay? So this information that I'm putting together right here is like brand new material. Like I've never talked about this before. This is brand new stuff. So about a week ago, I was on YouTube. Has anyone heard of this guy, Dr. Robert Lustig? He was on 60 Minutes. Okay, so you can see this YouTube video here. Can you see that it has 8 million views right now? Okay, I just pulled this off the other day. This has been on the internet for like 9 years. So I watched this 8 years ago. I watched this video 8 years ago, and I repeated watching it, and I even emailed the guy, and he gave me his PowerPoint presentation, and I printed off some of his graphs, and I started studying all of them 8 years ago. But at that time, the information was kind of complex, and I really didn't understand it, okay? But now to date, this has basically over 8 million views. I get back, and then in these books right here, these books, he watched it about 3 or 4 times slowly, and I took notes, and then this is when everything started gelling. And if you go and you look at the YouTube station right here, you would just Google Sugar, the Bitter Truth. He basically states this. I'm just going to read this right here. Robert Lustig, the professor of pediatrics at the Division of Endocrinology, explores the damage caused by sugar. He argues that what fructose, too much, and fiber, not enough, appear to be the cornerstone of obesity epidemic through their effects on what? Insulin. Okay, so I'm here to let you know, if you've tried to lose weight and you've eaten less and exercised more and you failed, it's not your fault. See, it's easy to peg the patient saying, eat less, exercise more. You didn't eat less and exercise more, and you've done that and you failed. Because all those models, the eating less, exercising more, have failed. Weight loss is a hormonal balance, which has to do with insulin. So the first part of the workshop is I'm going to be trying to go very slow because it's new material that I presented. I'm going to try and take my time so you understand these concepts. So here, in basically 1984, cholesterol was deemed what? Bad news. Remember the low-fat air like SnackWells? How many people remember to eat SnackWells? They're low-fat, so instead of eating one, I can eat as many possible. Right? This is the whole theme, low-fat, and then a bunch of carbohydrates, right? And then what happened to our society? It got what? Fatter, right? More cancer, more diabetes, more everything. Okay? Then this is the government. Okay, now remember, this is the government. Then we have time, 2014. This is a big what? Oops. Sorry, made a mistake. Okay? The data was out there for a long time. The problem when it comes to our politics is you have the camp of like wheat, right? The wheat camp, and then you have the camp of the fat camp. So both of these things are basically divided, right? So this has been an argument, a debate that's been going on for many, many years, decades, and it's really who has the biggest pile of money can convince what needs to happen in policy, okay? So no longer here is fat deemed mean, okay? Fat, you need to have good fats, okay? So there's some basic principles that we need to just get out right away. Fat is good for you. Okay? I'm not going to go on a big lecture on all the different studies of fat. That's just proven. And there's some things that are just proven. It's like, Paul and I walk out on a beautiful beautiful day in July. There's a cloud in the sky, and I say, Paula, the sky is blue. And Paula says to me, no, the sky is red. Okay? Then I would say, okay, are you blind? She says no. Okay, do you have cataracts? You say no. And then I say, the sky is blue. And then Paula says, the sky is what? Red. Okay, there's some things where I'm just going to say the sky is blue. It's just factual data, and I don't have a whole hour to discuss this. Fats in your body that you need those is the blue sky. Okay, it's factual data. So this is a viewpoint changer. This is one of my favorite slides. This is an advertisement for Crestor. Okay, so if you were to take this medication, what does this do to your cholesterol? It lowers it. Okay, there's no hands down it lowers your medication. Studies have proved that. If you have a cholesterol at 250 to 200, it's going to lower it. Some cases might not. This lady's here saying no. Okay, 99% of the cases, this is going to crash people's cholesterol. Okay, very, very good. So if you're to take this medication, what should this prevent in your body? Why would someone take this? What diseases should this prevent? Clogged arteries. Okay, so clogged arteries, if it prevents clogged arteries, that's going to prevent cardiovascular disease. We're on board for that, right? Heart disease, strokes, that should prevent that, right? So when you take this medication, how long do you take it for? Forever. Okay, 3 options. 1, till you die. Okay. 2, forever. Or 3, until you educate yourself and stop taking it. Okay. Or maybe the side effects are so bad you stop taking it. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to blow up this line right here. Okay, this is a viewpoint changer. I'm going to blow up that line, and we're going to read this together. Okay, on 3, you're going to read, start right here. 1, 2, 3. Crestor has not been determined to prevent heart disease, heart attacks, or what? Strokes. Okay, so this isn't me. This isn't like, you know, the crazy doctor up here telling you. This is in their own advertisements. So how many people actually think you know that line in there that take that blindly thinking that this is going to do something good? Research has shown clearly that this stuff does not benefit anyone. One of the side effects to this medication is muscle stiffness, because in the second half we'll be going more over the cell membrane, but every cell in your body needs cholesterol. You're 100 trillion cells. You're literally, I like doing this stuff in churches, you're literally a spirit in a cellular being, right? You're literally a spirit in a cellular being. Right, so you're 100 trillion cells, and every cell in your body, 25% of the cell membrane is cholesterol. So you need cholesterol in your body. Has anyone taken an aspirin for a headache? Everyone here, right? So how does the aspirin just know to go to your head and stop the pain in your head? It doesn't, right, Gail? It goes everywhere. Say 200, it takes it from everywhere. It takes it from your muscles, so your muscles should be very pliable. Okay, when cholesterol's out, they get stiff. You know, you hear people, oh man, I take some medication, I can't even get up in the morning, right? Because the cholesterol's gone. In your brain, the FDA put a black label on this stuff. It actually sucks cholesterol from your brain and will cause dementia. All right, so that's a viewpoint changer where we were told, like, this is good stuff. Time magazine, the secret killer is what? Inflammation. Okay? If you don't have enough good, healthy fats in your body, you are chronically inflamed. You want to write that down? If you don't have enough good, healthy fats in your body, you are chronically what? Inflamed. All diseases grow in a body that's inflamed. All diseases. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's disease. All these chronic bad diseases grow in a body that's inflamed. Okay? Now another thing here, what I like is 70 to 80% of your immune system is located in your small intestine. Okay? So we're talking about an inflammatory process right here, right? So this is what normal bowel movement should be. So you should be making a bowel movement every 2 to 3 times per day. Okay? 2 to 3 times per day. You should have no constipation, no diarrhea, no gas, no bloating, and take no heartburn medications. That's normal GI system health. If you have something other than that, your biggest immune system is being affected. 78% of your immune system is in your gut. Okay? So you have to make sure your digestive system is well and that's moving correctly. Okay, so here we're going to start getting into some of the hormonal levels of this. What causes a baby to grow? Food. Okay. Food is one. Age. What comes with age? Why does a baby grow? So if, okay, this is like I want to answer just some thought-provoking questions, okay, like to get the wheels turning before I hit the data. So a baby grows from here, a baby to an adult. Did they overeat? No, they certainly didn't overeat, right? Okay. So they didn't overeat, so why would they grow from here to here? Hormones. 100% hormonal. If you don't have growth hormone in your body, do you grow? You don't grow. Okay, even when you have no food, you grow. Look at these little babies in Africa, these kids in Africa. They have no food, but they still what? Grow. They still grow. Why? Because it's the hormones in the body that make you grow. Regardless if you have food or not, somehow it comes up with material that's going to make you grow. Okay? So then here, what causes this to occur? 200, 240, 280, 380. What hormone? What's our hormone we're talking about? Insulin. Okay? So growth hormone is what makes a baby grow. What makes a human gain weight is insulin hormone. Okay, so then the thing is like, what regulates hormone? Why is insulin high? Can we measure it? How do we modify it? Okay, and that's what we're going to get to. Okay, So here's the new paradigm. I don't care what you call the regimen that we're going to be talking about. There can be a lot of names to it. It could be ketogenic lifestyle. It could be the paleo lifestyle. It could be the low-carb lifestyle. The key word in here is what? What's that word? Lifestyle. I don't talk about a diet. Okay, try this diet, try the Atkins diet, try the keto diet. We're talking lifestyle. Nothing I do is about a diet. It's about a lifestyle change. What can I do to change my lifestyle to get a better outcome, to be leaner, to be healthier, to have more energy? And you can see down here, what's the basis of this paradigm is what? Protein and what? Fats. Okay, protein and fats. Then we have vegetables, butters down here, and vegetables. And we have some berries up in here. My thing is kind of berries up in here. Okay. Now this is what we probably all grew up on and we all know quite well. How many remember that chart there? You got to eat 5 to 7 servings of what? Grains, pastas, breads, 𝗘𝘅𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. What do you think these things do to your insulin levels on the bottom here? They do what? Georgia. Nice to see ya. What does that do to your insulin levels? All those things on the bottom. It spikes it. Spikes it up. Okay, so right now we have some basic information. All these foods right here that are glycemic based, they do what to your insulin? They do what? Spike it. Okay, let's go back to this graph right here. All these foods, let me change my. All these foods right in here do what to your glycemic index? They what? They lower it. Okay, so basic concept number 1. This stuff down here, how this graph works is this stuff here, all these foods right here lower your insulin. Okay, and that's on the bottom. All these foods down here on this bottom do what to your insulin? They what? Increase. And fats here are at the very bottom. At one time, the government was recommending that people consume 60% of their carbohydrates or 60% of the calories from carbohydrates. Increased carbs reduce what? Fats. It goes hand in hand. You can't do both. You have to do one or the other. Okay, so if the low-fat era, high carbohydrates actually worked, healthy. Okay, that was a bad theory. It didn't work. So this is just kind of a general guideline. Here you want to have fats at 75%, proteins at 25%, and carbohydrates at 5%. Now, my strategy on life is I don't count calories. You definitely want to count calories. I don't count fat. I just do a lifestyle. I just do a regimen. I don't get all geeked out about how many points or how many grams or macro. That's too hard. In life, I consider myself to be a very, very simple person. Like simplicity, I like simplicity. So the more simple I can make it, the better. And the simpler the idea, the easier it is to apply to your life. Okay, so now this here, these are some shocking statistics. So this comes from the CDC right here. You see that? Okay. So 84 million Americans, and 1 out of 3 have what? Prediabetes. 1/3 of this room. Okay, so we can pretty much say this is more people here. All these people here, you have prediabetes. That's just the statistics. 84 million have prediabetes. And this is the biggest thing. 9 out of 10 people with prediabetes don't know they what? Have it. Okay, this is a silent killer that brews in your body for decades and decades and decades, right? Your glucose starts to go up slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly. Then you go to the doctor and it's like 110. Oh, you're pre-diabetic. What should I do, doctor? What? Take a pill. Okay, if it's back, yeah, take a pill. Okay, you're one step ahead. You take a pill or eat less and exercise more. Okay, eat less, exercise more. Okay, you do that. You really try to do that for whatever 6 months, or you really check it. You go there the next year. Okay, now you're 5 pounds heavier, and now your glucose is 115. And then they give you the same advice, or if it gets worse, they say, here's metformin. Good luck. Metformin will take care of it. Right? That's wicked. Okay, so this is like a silent killer, and if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, every disease grows in a body that has high sugar levels. Let me just state that again. Every disease grows in a body that has high glucose levels. Guess what they're calling Alzheimer's disease now? What did you say? Type 3 diabetes. No one wants dementia. One of the worst diseases you can have, that's type 3 diabetes. When someone has dementia, their sugar levels have been high for decades and decades and decades. When you have high sugar levels, your body is in a state of chronic inflammation. Like if I cut my finger, ow, there's going to be an ouch there, right? That's pain. When your brain is inflamed, guess what? There's no pain. But what's a symptom of a brain not working? Where's my keys? Where are my keys? Do you have my keys? Okay, where am I parked? Do you know where I'm parked? Where's my car parked? Okay, whatever it is, like those are the things that you get, forgetting things. And it might just be slight initially, but then it progressively gets worse and worse and worse. When I do labs on those people are always have high glucose levels. Okay, now here's another statistic. 29 people have diabetes. Okay, so 1 out of every 4. Oh, no, wait, that's 1 out of every 11 have diabetes. And 1 out of every 4 don't know they actually have diabetes. Okay? So 1 out of 11 have diabetes. And then 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3 are pre-diabetic. So you can basically say half of America is either pre-diabetic or they're actually diabetic. Okay? Now here's another shocking statistic here. Is pre-diabetes kills 50% more people than diabetes worldwide. Okay, so this isn't my statistic. This comes from the World Health Organization. So how significant is pre-diabetes? Barry, you better know your numbers. You better know your numbers and what's going on. If the numbers are creeping up, you better do something about it. And you can catch pre-diabetes really, really early as long as the practitioner knows what they're doing when they look at your labs. All right, so this next video here is, I'm just going to go over like how...
Understanding type 2 diabetes.
Hang on a second.
Type 2.
I'm going to go over how the insulin works in your body so you understand that mechanism.
Diabetes is a metabolic
Hang on, let me do this. Get
disorder that causes sugar in the form of glucose
Hang on.
to accumulate in the blood rather than being used.
Hang on, this is kind of, you get it hooked up here. It's kind of goofy on my screen.
Fuel by the cell. Almost in our body. When we eat.
One thing, I know I always show up, but the technology doesn't always show up. That's a problem.
Understanding type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder that causes sugar in the form of glucose.
Hang on, now it's not showing the video. Last time I did the lecture, the same thing happened. Audio problems. Let's hope not, huh?
Understanding type. Understanding type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder that causes sugar in the form. Type 2 used as fuel by.
Do you see how it's saying it, but it's not moving? The video's not moving. Can you see that?
Understanding type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder that causes sugar in the form of glucose to accumulate in the blood rather than being used as fuel by the cells in our body. When we eat, food is broken down by our digestive system into nutrient molecules that are then absorbed through our digestive tract for use by the body. Foods containing carbohydrates or various sugars are broken down into glucose. Glucose is
Okay, so the carbohydrates are broken down into what? Glucose. Okay, write that down. Carbohydrates are breaking down into what? Glucose. Okay?
source of fuel for many organs in our body. However, to be able to use the glucose for fuel, the glucose molecule must first enter into the cell.
Okay, so here, so you just ate, let's say you just had some bread. Okay, bread's broken down into what? Glucose. Okay, so that's in your bloodstream now. It's floating around in your bloodstream. So then from your bloodstream, it has to get into your cell. Okay, everyone see that? Okay, now right here, there are no like glucose transporters right there. Okay, so what we need is insulin to get it in.
The pancreas produces a hormone called insulin, a chemical messenger essential for the entry of glucose into cells.
Okay, so this is a key component. Insulin, so anytime you eat glucose, okay, there's little receptors on your pancreas that can see glucose. This is a key point. There's little receptors in your pancreas that can see glucose, and when it sees glucose, your pancreas starts to do what with insulin? It starts to what? Secrete it. Does that make sense? Everyone have those concepts? Okay. The key thing is your pancreas has to see glucose. Okay, it must see it, okay? Then it starts to secrete insulin, and your insulin goes up, right? Okay.
As the blood glucose levels rise after a meal, insulin is released into the bloodstream and sets processes in motion to trigger the removal of glucose from the blood to enter into the cell.
Okay, look at these concepts now. So you have glucose, or you have insulin that was secreted. It goes to this receptor, and then what happens to the glucose? It goes where? Inside the cell. Everyone see that? Okay. So glucose, you eat bread, that's broken down into glucose. The pancreas sees that, hey, there's glucose in my bloodstream. Your pancreas starts to produce what? Insulin. So insulin goes what? Up. Okay, then when insulin is up, that grabs the calories from your bloodstream and puts them where? Into the cell. Okay? So insulin always drives things into cells. Okay, write that down. Insulin always drives things into what? Cells. It pushes things into cells automatically. That's its job. It pushes things into the cells automatically all the time. Okay? Okay, so here is insulin is the hormone of what? Fat storage. So let's just go back to this analogy. You eat some bread. Carla, is this making sense? Yeah. Okay. So you eat some bread. Okay, your glucose goes up, right? What happens to your insulin levels? It goes what? Up. Okay? Then insulin takes those calories from your bloodstream and shoves them where? Into your cells. Now, the way God designed our body is our heart, our liver, our pancreas can only take on so many calories before it says we're closed for business. Okay, we don't want any more of that sugar. It's too much. I can't believe you're giving us that much sugar. Okay? But what's always open for business to take on calories? Fat. So fat's always open for what? Business. So, the wheel should start to be turning now. If you chronically have high insulin levels, chronically, we can measure that. I'll show you labs. If you're pre-diabetic, you have chronically high insulin levels, point blank. If you have chronically high insulin levels, and insulin does what to calories? It puts it where? Into cells. And if all the organ cells are full, it puts it where? Into fat cells. How hard is it to lose weight if you have high insulin levels? Hard. Because you want to get rid of the stuff. Right? So in order to get rid of the stuff, the fat, we have to decrease what? Insulin. Okay? Right there, it's not about exercising more. It's not about eating less. It's about doing what your body needs and giving it what it needs so it balances your hormone called insulin. That's the crux of the whole thing. Okay? So insulin, in the simplest terms, right? My pointer. Insulin, in the simplest terms, puts things into fat cells. If things are being put into your fat cells, what happens to your cells? They get fatter. Okay? Okay, now this is another epiphany slide right here. Right over here we have insulin. You can see that? Okay, that's insulin. Okay. So what we have right here is we have, this is going to be carbohydrates, such as, we're just going to stick with bread. Okay? We're going to stick with bread. Okay? A protein, what kind of protein? What kind of protein should we stick with? Chicken? No, I don't like chicken. Okay, it needs to be fattier. What's a really good fatty meat that y'all like? How about salmon? Okay, we'll go with salmon, or I like prime rib. Okay, steak, anything that's fatty. Okay, so this would be your protein source. Okay, you see what's happening here with the carbohydrate? What's happening immediately with your insulin levels? It goes what? Spikes. Visuals. I love visuals. How many people here are visual learners? Okay, I'm all about visual, man. Don't give me a paragraph, just give me a picture. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Okay, so the insulin goes up, right? It goes up. Then what do we know here with the protein? So you had that big steak, whatever it is. What happens to your insulin levels? They still went up, right? Okay, not as much as what? Carbs. And then here we have fat. How much does fat spike your insulin? Doesn't. Okay, so if someone, just based on that graph, if someone would really want to be in a hormones, balance their hormones, right, and balance insulin, is it a high-fat diet or is it a high-carbohydrate diet? High-fat. Okay, so now again, people say, well, high-fat is going to cause me to die. Okay, what color is the sky? Blue. Okay, there's so many articles that that's not the truth. It just is what it is. You've been lied to. I'm sorry that that's the way it is. Okay, so fat doesn't kill you fat. Now, are there good fats and bad fats? Yes. Are there good proteins and bad proteins? Are there good carbohydrates and bad carbohydrates? Right. Okay, so I'm not saying that you go to McDonald's and get yourself $20 of McDonald's food. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to be smart and strategic about it. And at the end here, we'll actually, the second half, I go over what those fats are. Okay. But right now, here you have more information about dieting, losing weight, not even losing weight, lifestyle. Because when you have high insulin levels, you also have high what? Glucose levels. And all diseases grow in a body that has high glucose and high insulin. Every disease known to mankind. Everyone. Okay? So this is why it just takes some education. Right? Our practice, here's what my practice stands for. We're a beacon of information. We're a beacon of truth. Because where are you going to get that? If you go to Dr. Google, do you get any straight answers from Dr. Google? I mean, there's answers out there, but you have to know where to go, right? Dr. Google has too much information, okay? Okay, so this is where this book and going back and rewatching this video on YouTube really gelled everything together. These next like 4 or 5 slides, like once I got this concept, I was like, dang, this is like I finally got all this stuff came together. Okay, so starches. So all these foods here are starches. Okay, this is the most technical aspect of the workshop. Okay, all these foods are starches. Okay, so here you can see this. This is like that. This is the carbohydrate. Okay, and this is 3 starches. Okay, and one of these right here, this little molecule is called what? Glucose. Okay, so let me just draw this out. So this right here, I want to take my time on this because this is really, I've been confused on this for 10 years until actually I read these books. Like I was completely confused. So here, this starch right here, you see this is 3 of them right there. This is 1, 2, 3. Makes sense? Yeah. So one of these right here is what we call glucose. Okay, makes sense? Now, when I showed you that video, when I showed you those starches are broken down into what? Glucose, okay? And your pancreas can see what? Glucose. Okay, your pancreas can seize that. It acknowledges glucose is there. It sees it, then it starts to spit out what? Insulin. Okay, that's the way the body's designed. Okay? So that's glucose. Now let's go on to this next thing here. So all these starchy foods, all of them have what molecule? Glucose. Okay. Now I hope I convey this. This is the first time going through it. So usually when I go through it my first time, there's like some growing pains. And if I see people like, then I know I failed. Okay. So I'm just like trying to go slow. I have some demonstrations here because I really want people to get this so you can understand. Okay. So then we have this thing called, okay, so first of all, we have fruit, right? Okay, and fructose here is found in where? Fruits, bananas, fruits, okay? So the sugar in fruit, bananas, or whatever fruit we're talking about is called what? Okay, now, just look at this. Okay, fructose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was that movie with the rings, the rings? What was it? Lord of the Rings. Okay, Lord of the Rings. Okay, like we're playing like Lord of the Rings now. We ready? Fructose has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings. 5 for what? 5. So that's how you can remember this. Fructose is what? 5. F for F. Okay. Now glucose here, which is found in all starchy foods, only glucose is found in these foods, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So are they different? Yes. Okay, good. They're different. Okay. So you can clearly see they're different. Okay. Now, here, Coca-Cola. How many people like a Coca-Cola? Come on a minute. Who likes Coca-Cola? I like Coca-Cola. I mean, I'm not really like a fan of drinking it, but I like the taste of it, right? Okay, so now here, look at this. Coca-Cola, okay, this has 1 part fructose, 1 part these food only they're single. Only have 1 molecule of what? They're all lined up. Glucose, 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 glucose. Make sense? Okay, starchy foods only have glucose. They're single. Fructose is married. And it's married to what? Glucose. Okay? So, this right here has what 2 things in it? Glucose. Okay? This right here, everyone has sugar cane, right? This right here has the same thing as this. It has fructose and it has glucose. Has fructose and it has what? Okay, this is married. Okay, these 2 things are married. Okay, these are married. Okay, this potato is what? Glucose. Okay? So basically what happens, okay, this is where my demonstrations are going to come together. When we talk about this Coca-Cola, you're talking about Coca-Cola is a mixture. What's in fruit? Fructose. What's in the glucose, right? This product here is a combination of these 2. This is really, really important after we go over to the next slides. Make sense? It's a combination. This single, this double. Okay, fructose and what? Glucose. Okay? This right here is what? Fructose and glucose. Okay? I'll say to people, oh, well, you should stop drinking pop. I don't drink any pop. I don't have any sugar in my, I don't consume sugar. Okay? You'll soon find out how much sugar you can actually consume. Okay? Is that because of well, no. Here, let's go. Okay. Now here, okay, so this is where these are a couple slides. So this right here, so table sugar, oh, hang on. Table sugar's fancy name is called what? Sucrose. Sucrose. Okay, like they have to make everything complex. They just can't call it sugar. They have to call it what? Sucrose. So any packaging is actually what? Plain old table sugar. Okay, makes sense? And the table sugar has, what are these 2 components in it? It has, what's in the potato? Glucose and and fructose. Make sense? Okay. So, this here is fructose, so it's 50-50. It's 50% fruit, and 50% glucose. It's a 50-50 mixture, table sugar. Now, high fructose corn syrup. How many people have told not to eat high fructose corn syrup? Okay, it's demonized. Now, look at this. High fructose corn syrup is what percent fructose? 55. And what is table sugar? 50. So, what does that mean? These two things are exactly what? The same. Does everyone get that? By 5% more fructose in this. They're the same. Okay, everyone keeping track of this? Because you look at your food, you're going to see high fructose. They've kind of like, like 3 years ago, everything had high fructose corn syrup. You go now, it doesn't say high fructose corn syrup. It's what? Sucrose or sugar. It will just say plain sugar. Because they're trying to market, they're trying to be smart about it. Okay? So, what happens here, how many people love eating a green banana? How many people really love it? You do? Wow, you guys are rare birds. 2 people? Okay, I don't like raw bananas. Because when they're raw, they don't have as much what in them? Fructose. So when something ripens, the way God designed it to ripen, when it comes to fruit, it has more fructose. So it's more sweeter. See, when we talk about this here, fructose and glucose, which one is more sweeter? What tastes sweeter? The banana, right? Okay. So just the way fructose is on our palate, it's sweeter. Okay, that's why you don't want to like juice potatoes. No one's juiced potatoes. You wouldn't be able to handle it because it's not sweet. Okay, it's not sweet. Okay. Now this right here, this next slide. I hope I pull this together, man. I hope. Remember this slide where I showed you here? Your pancreas sees what? Glucose. It has receptors on there. It sees glucose. Now I'm going to make a little F. Oop. Pen. That's fructose. Okay, this is fructose. Okay, just an F. Okay. This is what pulled everything together for me. I was like, damn, I can't believe for 10 years I missed this whole key. So fructose, remember I showed you the structures. How many rings does fructose have? 5. Glucose has what? 6. They're body can see that they're different. They're metabolized different. When you consume fructose, your pancreas does not. You say what? You stole my fire.
Oh, it doesn't know the difference.
No, it knows the difference. It does not see it.
Oh, it doesn't.
Does not see it. Okay, so this is a huge concept here.
Yeah.
Okay, your pancreas. I'm telling you, when I finally got this, I was like, damn, 10 years it took me to figure this out. I hope I can convey this in 15 minutes. Okay. So your pancreas doesn't see fructose. 100 years ago, how often did we get an apple? Or not 100, let's say 1,000. 1,000 years ago, how often did we get an apple? Rarely. And if you got those apples, have you ever been to the orchard and you get these little ugly ones? You don't want to eat them. And they've actually been sprayed with a bunch of chemicals and you still don't want to eat them. Like they try to make them look good with chemicals and they can't. So we're not designed to consume huge amounts of fructose, okay? So fructose is not recognized by your liver. So if it's not recognized by your liver, does your insulin go, what happens to your insulin levels? Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Because it doesn't recognize it, it doesn't produce insulin. Okay? So it doesn't produce insulin. So this is a big concept here. So fructose is foreign. Fructose is a poison in high doses. That's been proven. Your pancreas doesn't see that. But it's still floating around in your bloodstream, so where do you think it goes? It goes to your? Well, it does. Eventually, it goes to your liver first. Okay, so here's a video. Okay, just watch this video, because this guy's 2,500 videos on YouTube. It's a good video. Uh-oh. Let's see if we're going to play him here.
I want to answer the question, is fructose which is a low glycemic sweetener, safe to consume. I mean, after all, it's in fruit.
Okay, does everyone know what glycemic index is?
Yeah.
Okay, for the people that don't, glucose is 100. So everything's on the scale of potato, 100. Okay, so the higher the glycemic index, the quicker it turns into fat and causes insulin spikes. Okay? But because fructose, why does fructose have a low index? Okay, this is a question for me to see if I'm actually educating.
Because it doesn't cause the pancreas to create insulin.
Does everyone see that? Because it has no effect on the pancreas. Okay? That in itself is very detrimental. Okay?
To be healthy, agave nectar has a low glycemic index. It has 97% fructose. But here's the problem. High fructose corn syrup, which is all GMO, it's in soft drinks, it's in alcohol, it's in the fruit juices, the jams, the candy, the syrups, the dressings. It's in 80% of all the foods in the U.S. have high fructose corn syrup. I mean, that's just off the charts. Well, here's the thing. Your cells do not use fructose as the energy source. That's not what the cells use. The cells use glucose or ketones.
Okay, glucose or what? Which comes from what? Fat. Okay? Two fuel sources we can use, glucose and ketones from fat.
And the effect of fructose is very similar to ethanol or alcohol.
Where's alcohol processed in the body? Liver. Why? Because you don't have a receptor that says, hey, heart, I need some more alcohol. It's a poison in excessive quantities. Right? Alcoholics have liver problems because they're poisoning their liver. Because that's where it's processed. If you eat something and it's foreign to your body, what organ tries to get rid of it and packages it up and get rid of it? Your liver.
So your body treats it like alcohol, so it's very toxic. And it's the absolute worst type of carbohydrate you could possibly consume. And I'm not talking about fruit, I'm talking about high fructose corn syrup. And this is why. Because 100% of the fructose is metabolized by your liver. And the amount of fructose that people consume on a regular basis just puts that liver into an overwhelmed state very fast. And you're going to develop a fatty liver, you're going to spike your cholesterol, your triglycerides, and you're going to make a tremendous amount of visceral fat. That's around your gut, that's around the organ.
Okay, visceral fat. Okay, so where's fructose in and what organ? What percentage is processed there? 100%. So here's what happens. On your cholesterol panel, you eat fructose, okay, which you're eating it and you don't know you're eating it, especially if you're eating a standard American diet. That goes your liver. And what do you think your liver does with that fructose? It converts it to fat. Okay? So it produces fat. So this is why you go and your triglycerides are high. Because your liver is taking that fructose and putting it into fatty liver. And then you get visceral fat, fat around your organs, heart, liver, digestive system. And when that happens, what do you think happens to your insulin resistance and diabetes? Does it get better or worse? It gets worse. So it's self-perpetuating, spiral down. You're trying to lose weight and they tell you to do what? What are the two things? Exercise. More. Okay, then you're diabetic. Here's some metformin. If that doesn't work, here's some insulin. Okay?
Which is going to lead to all sorts of issues. So the three main things, the side effects of high fructose corn syrup, is a fatty liver, insulin resistance, and belly fat. Other than that, it's totally fine. I'm being very sarcastic. And I have a question for you. Would you let your kids drink beer or alcohol? If the answer is no, then you definitely don't want them to do the high fructose corn syrup because it has a very similar effect that alcohol has on the liver and the rest of the body. All right? There's a lot of alternative things that you can give your kids. I'll put some links up
Okay, quick story. We got back from our vacation, and we went into this ice cream place. Okay, I'm like, we want to have ice cream. Okay, have some ice cream. And I just got done reading these books about high fructose corn syrup and all this stuff. And okay, like, fine, we can go in and have a little ice cream. Like, literally, I couldn't. I was like, as soon as I walk in there and I see the amount of, I was just flabbergasted. So this is, what's the place called? Tammy, what's it called? Small Cakes. Okay, this place in Small Cakes in Rosemont, we go there. Okay, so what they do is they have like a Vitamix pitcher. Like, you've seen a big Vitamix pitcher? Okay, and they put in a whole cupcake, like a whole cupcake right in there, like one of these chocolate cakes in there, right? And then instead of, like, when you go to the ice cream parlor, you know, if you get a scoop, they just have it like a rounded scoop. Just no. This was like a scoop, and you know, if the ice cream's a little soft, you get a scoop plus the mounds over it. 3 of those. I was like, we're out of here. Like, there's no way I cannot get this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, seriously, like, we're poisoning our kids here, right? I mean, I let them have it. I told her, I said, we're never going back to that place again. Why can't you just give a little one? And it's just right after I read these books, you know, so I'm like all like excited about it. I'm going to be doing this lecture. Then I walk in this place and I can't believe what I see. Okay, so potatoes, which is broken down into what? Glucose. Okay, so that energy source, okay, glucose can be used in your brain, in your heart, bladder, spleen, liver can use it, okay? Stomach, everything can be used glucose, right? Now fructose, the only thing that can process fructose is what? The liver. Now when this happens, this is what happens when you consume too much fructose, high fructose corn syrup, you do what? Gain weight. Okay, now you're going to look back at this and you've been eating high fructose corn syrup for 20 or 30 years and you didn't know it. And now you're like middle-aged and you can't lose weight because now you have all this stuff against you. You have years and decades of all this stuff against you. Okay? So it causes type 2 diabetes. Why does it cause type 2 diabetes? Because you were eating this stuff, right? This fructose goes to your liver. It causes fatty liver, more fats in your body, fats deposited in your organs, which is called visceral fat, and that causes you to become insulin what? Resistant. So you have 2 things. You have the glucose problems, which increases insulin. So right there, you have one strike against you right there. And then on top of that, if you're eating fructose, it comes a roundabout way, how it produces insulin resistance, through fatty liver and fatty organs. Okay? High triglycerides, gout, fatty liver, and then kidney stones as well. Now, one of the things that happens, this is all the different things that can happen when you eat high fructose corn syrup or fructose, is your brain can see insulin. Your brain sees insulin like, oh, we got a bunch of insulin here, I'm going to stop eating. Okay, that's how it works. Okay. Now, I'm sure you've all had, like, you've had some Skittles or you've taken some M&Ms and you pounded a bag of Skittles and you don't feel, you're not full, you're actually more what? Hungry. Because the fructose, there's no insulin increase and your brain doesn't see that. So the insulin and glucose is what your brain sees and says, okay, I'm done eating. If you're eating this fructose stuff, your brain doesn't see it, and then you keep on what? Eating. And this is all over, it's everywhere, okay? It's in a whole bunch of foods. So this causes fatty liver, elevated triglycerides, inflammation, uric acid problems, inflammation, insulin resistance here, elevated blood pressure. When you have elevated insulin levels, you hang on to sodium. Okay, so if your insulin is, so we have a lot of people that are diabetic. Here's classic. They're pre-diabetic, they're on blood pressure medication, and they're on cholesterol medication, and the next step is metformin, right? Classic. So if you have high insulin levels, insulin hangs on to it, likes to hold on to sodium. So if you hold on to sodium, what happens to your blood pressure? It goes what? Up. Okay, so instead of getting the root cause of the problem, they give you a blood pressure medication, and a statin medication, and then metformin. Okay? So this is all due to, fructose. So inflammation, all this stuff here is called what we call metabolic syndrome. Okay. So these are some basic things just to kind of know where you're standing. Okay? So this is a thing called metabolic syndrome. Do you have abdominal obesity? Is your waist more than 40 inches if you're a man and 35 if you're a woman? Okay, if it's more than that, that tells you that you have a high likelihood of being pre-diabetic. Is your triglyceride levels over 150 on labs? And I like to see it less than 100. Okay? Is your LDL less than 50? You're good guys. Do you have blood pressure problems? And is your fasting glucose over 100? We want your fasting glucose at 80, I don't know if you can see that, 85. Okay? So I'm going to show you a lab. Okay, this is a person that just came in to me, and everything, you can't see any of her personal information. She's 53. So, first thing here, what do we see with the triglycerides? They are what? 327. Okay, functionally, I like to see this less than 100. Okay, so right now that gives me an indication that something's not right. Okay, something's not working right. Okay. Then right here we have the HDL, which is 33. On this graph here, we want this less than over 50, right? Okay, so our HDL is at 33, which is low. Blood glucose, what do we want that at? 85, but like to fit the definition, it's 100. Okay, but really you'd like to see it at 85. Okay, so you see that at 115, that's bad. And then this ALT marker right here, this marker right here, that stands for liver. That's a liver marker. It's high. So what do we know with her liver? Is it healthy or sick? Sick, right? It's a high marker. Okay, so it's fatty liver. Her hemoglobin A1C is 6.0, and then right here it says hemoglobin A1C between 5.7 and 6.4 is consistent with what? Prediabetes. Okay? So this is a classic prediabetic metabolic syndrome at 53. Now this right here, you can measure insulin. Okay, the conventional system is not going to measure because it's kind of expensive to take. Okay? So this fasting insulin, this is fasting for 8 hours or 10 hours. We want to see this fasting number here at 5. Where's she at? 19. So even when she's sleeping, she's still producing a lot of what? Insulin. She's chronically inflamed. Do you think she can lose weight? You can have fibromyalgia, you can have brain fog, dementia, Parkinson's disease, all this stuff developing all within the labs. Now, if you go to the conventional system, what's their solution? Here's a statin medication, blood pressure, right? Oh, have high blood pressure medication. Oh, high sugar. Oh, metformin. Here's how you make a lot of money in the current system. You do a very simple test and you give a drug. Simple test, blood pressure. That costs nothing. $50 and you can use it on 10,000 people. Oh, blood pressure, man. Another simple test, glucose levels blood levels. Oh, high cholesterol, medication. Simple test, drug. That's a lot of money, but people get sicker and sicker and sicker. Okay? So I'm just going to show you some pictures of what this looks like. Here's your liver. You see this? See all these little white spots in there? See these white spots? Those are what? What do you think that is? That's fat. Fat accumulation. That's fatty liver. Okay? What's visceral fat? Visceral fat, you can see like in this stuff right in here. See, this is your abdomen, your muscles, and this is like subcutaneous. That's like gut fat, but then it's in the organs. You see where it's all in the organs? So when you have too much fat, too much fructose, it has to sort somewhere. It stores in your visceral organs. Okay, there's another visual. Okay, here's another visual. Look at this heart, healthy heart. What do we have here? Sick heart, right? Okay. Okay, here's another study here. This is I like this study here. So what they've done is they've taken diabetes patients. Okay, so there's so many studies on what insulin causes you to gain weight. Here's a study. It's called the CORD study. What they've taken is they've taken these people right here, the standard treatment, which is Avandia. So how Avandia works is it makes your insulin receptors more receptive to insulin. So it makes them more receptive to there's insulin, let me work. Okay. So this is weight gain. So they've taken people and put them on insulin. Okay. So in a study of 8,000 patients with type 2 diabetes, aggressive insulin therapy, intensive treatment caused significant what? Weight gain. Paul, you've probably seen people on insulin. They just gain weight. She's a nurse, right? They gain weight. No one loses weight on insulin. their problem just gets worse because you're just, what are we doing with the insulin? The insulin is already too high, and you're doing what with the insulin? You're doing more, make it even worse, okay? Versus let's take some time, let's give some love to this person, let's give some education, let's give some understanding of what's happening here, okay? This is just a visual. Okay, just a visual. Okay, you see, this is your pancreas. You see high insulin, see low insulin. Just another visual. See how it's spitting out here? High spitting out here. See how it's really low? Okay, just a visual, just to see it's visualizing. Okay. Then here, this is one of my patients right here. This is when she came in. She was diabetic. Her insulin was, what's that number right there? 46. This is fasting. This is a fasting insulin. 46. Okay, she's diabetic. Okay. Super high. We like to see this less than 5. This is every time I've measured her insulin. Boom, 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 boom. 46, 24, 27, oh, I'm sorry. Right? So what do? We took a metabolic approach and individualized and got her turned around. This doctor you have is inside your body. There's no pill, potion, or lotion that's greater than the doctor within. So that being said, what do you need to do, right, to actually increase that power? It's being connected to a source of truth. Here's another graph. I like this here. So low fat, okay, guidelines, late 70s, low fat. Okay, so if you go low fat, what do you have to, you have to put more carbohydrates in, right? Okay, so we have low fat era, okay. We have wheat consumption, because if you're not going to eat fat, you got to eat something. You produce wheat, so we're going to eat what? Wheat. Okay, so this is the wheat consumption graph right here. Okay, then our sugar consumption, if you decrease fat, you put what in there? Sugar. Okay, so you see the sugar consumption right here. And then we see obesity. What do you see with obesity? Straight up and vertical, just like that. Okay. And like, here's the thing, I know what it is to be fat. It sucks, man. It's no fun. Like, kids just don't want to be heavy. People don't want to be heavy. No one wants to be, yeah, I want to be obese. No. You just don't have the right data to get yourself better. Just more data, right? Processed foods, sugar, it's all what? Straight up. What do you see with natural foods? Down, okay? High fructose corn syrup here is, oh wait, this is high fructose corn syrup, right? Straight up. Okay, it's dipped a little bit. Why? Because it's bad PR right there. Okay, then right here we have obesity rates. The red's obesity rates, straight up, right? Okay, just more graphs. Okay, this is really critical, I think. Type 3 diabetes is considered what? Okay, Alzheimer's disease. And I'm going to read this. Lots of research on this statement right here. The enzyme that breaks down insulin is the same enzyme that breaks down amyloid plaques. Does anyone know what an amyloid plaque is? Amyloid plaque, does anyone know what that is? That's what they find in the brain of what kind of patients? Alzheimer's. People that have dementia have amyloid plaques in their brain. Okay. The same enzyme that breaks down insulin is the same enzyme that breaks down amyloid beta plaques. If you only have a tank of gas and you go 250 miles per hour, you're not going to get, or 250 miles, you're not going to get 300 miles out of it, right? So if that enzyme is busy breaking down insulin, because you've had elevated insulin levels for 40 years, and there's only so much enzyme to go around to break it down, what happens to your amyloid plaques in your brain? They start to do what? Accumulate. There's only so many enzymes that break things down over a period of time. Okay? Oh, this part's going a little bit longer than I thought. Okay, so, now you have a little more perspective on this, carbohydrates, proteins, fat. Okay, what we're really trying to do, when you eat fat right here, what happens to your insulin levels? They go what? Down. Even when you eat protein, what happens to your insulin levels? They go what? Down. Okay, the highest is up is what? In carbohydrates. That's where it's the highest level. Okay? Here's just a graph of butter. Here's butter consumption. Butter always makes everything what? Better, right? Butter's better, right? So start eating butter. Okay, margarine going up. We're on the skim milk. Get rid of skim milk. We'll be going over that in the second half, depending on how much time we have. Here's whole milk. Straight down, what? Whole milk is going to do what? It's going to cause heart attacks. Stop eating it. Go skim milk. You take out of the fat. If you take the fat out of milk, basically you have sugar water. Skim milk is sugar water. All right, this is another, I have so many, I could talk for 6 hours here, okay? This is, I love this little graph here. This is a good visual, okay? A teaspoon, does everyone, just so, I'm not much of a cook, but this is a teaspoon. Everyone see that? In the back there, that's a teaspoon, okay? This is a teaspoon, okay? This is how much glucose in any given moment, day, time, year, this is how much glucose you should have in your entire body floating around in your bloodstream. That's not much, is it? No, like visual. Okay, visual. Now, let's say you have orange juice and a bagel for breakfast. A bagel is 50 grams. It's like 20 of these. Have how many? One. But you were told to go low fat and eat gluten and wheat because that's good for you. But yet your numbers still get what? Worse and worse and worse. Okay, here's, glycemic index, we kind of went over this, is how fast a food breaks down and gets in your bloodstream and causes increased glucose levels. Okay, so let's just go over this. Okay, I looked at these slides, so there's going to be some, see if I'm teaching right. Wheat bread, so glucose, right? So glucose is in here. So our whole thing here is 100, right? So glucose is 100, okay? Now we're talking pure glucose. There's like fiber and stuff in here, so pure glucose is 100. Wheat bread is what? 74. Sugar is what? 64. Now, which one is going to spike your insulin more, bread or the sugar packet? Bread. And so, why is that? Because, okay, get back to our demonstration. Sugar is 1 part what? Glucose, and 1 part fructose. And fructose does not increase your insulin. That's why it's lower. These are immediate effects, not long-term. Okay, we're not talking like human studies long-term. Okay, that's why it's lower. Does that make sense? Why is a Snickers bar here 40? Peanuts, right? And it has fat in it. It probably has high fructose corn syrup in it, right? Okay, here's another one. So, and you know what? Like going back and looking at this stuff, like I've been doing this kind of same lecture for 10 years. And this is orange juice, right? Orange juice has a glycemic index of what? 38. And I always thought to myself, gosh, why is it only 38? I don't know. I'm just going to put it up there because people drink orange juice. And I never understood why it was only 38 until I read these books. And why is it only 38? Because it's fructose. I'm like, that's why. Makes sense to me now. It's fructose, okay? But if you're eating this long term, right, this is causing your liver, where it's going to your liver, and what does your liver do with it? It makes it into what? Fat, okay? It causes insulin resistance, diabetes, high blood pressure, and inflammation in a roundabout way, okay? Wait, did we go over that? Okay, so here we have eggs, which is what? 1, right? Avocados, which is 1. Bread, which is 6. So you can see, like, these are low glycemic, high fatty foods. Here we have cheese is 0, spinach 15. I think this is potatoes, right, is 70, okay? Shredded wheat. So you can see the glycemic index, the meal of it. Cheerios has a glycemic index of 74. So, this is a great meal. How many, the American Medical Association or Diabetes Association, eat oatmeal for breakfast. Eat oatmeal and bread and jelly. All that is 100% glucose, sugar. It spikes your insulin. Okay, spikes your sugar. What's going to have a lower glycemic index here? Whole milk or skim milk? What's going to have a lower glycemic index? Whole milk. Why does whole milk? because it has the fat. Okay? Perfect. So, like, you know, what should someone eat? Like, I can give general guidelines, but at the end, and I'll be going over that a little bit. At the end of the day, it's like individual. Are you diabetic? Are you on medication? Are you on metformin? Are you just trying to lose weight? What have you tried in the past? Like, this is where it's a custom kind of thing. It's individual custom. Okay, so here's what happens. I like this graph here. So you see this is this fat burning zone. So in order to get access to fat, you have to be here. Make sense? So what happens is when you eat these meals that have a lot of carbohydrates, this is your glucose, right? You see how your glucose goes up and then it spikes down? But what happens to your insulin levels? It what? Stays high. Insulin doesn't fall like glucose. Like you eat some wheat toast and your glucose goes up and an hour later it's what? Down. Okay, that's spiky. That's why people, you know, they get hunger pains right away. They eat toast, an hour later like, oh, I'm hungry. Because you're hungry, your satiety, your hunger is based on your glucose levels. But insulin stays high, and if this is staying high the whole day, this is where problems come in, and this is where you are not going to lose weight. You want to be down in this area right here, right? Yeah. Fat burning zone. So what do we need to do? Hormone-based application. So we want to have a diet that has low glucose levels, right? And then when you have low glucose levels, what happens to your insulin levels? They stay low. This is when the healing starts to take place. This is when the brain fog disappears. This is when you get off metformin. This is when you get off blood pressure medication. This is when you wake up and you actually can be productive because you've balanced your body. Until you've balanced your body, there's going to be a problem. So, how many people, and I was doing this like 3 weeks ago. My whole strategy has changed since I've read these books and they put all these little pieces together. How many people are eating 6 small meals a day? If you've heard that, right? 6 small meals a day. 6 small meals. Well, if you look at it, and this book goes over, like how can you eat more and lose weight? Right? How can you eat 6 times a day but yet lose weight? Or the little snacks. You know, they've done a really good job, like snacks. Really, what snacks are for the covert name for desserts. Like you look at Cliff Bars, like we have some Cliff Bars, you know, and I just randomly went and looked at them, like, it's sugar, but that's a what? Snack. You have to have a snack. Oh, you mean you need to have a dessert, really? Okay, it's just marketed, right? You have to realize this is in the marketing campaign. Kids need snacks. Kids need like a little fruit roll-up and a little punch juice, right? That is all what? It's a dessert. It's not a snack, it's a dessert, okay? So what happens when you eat 6 small meals per day, this is high insulin, breakfast, snack, lunch, breakfast, or breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. You have high insulin levels, right? Then when you go to bed, then this bedtime will you wake up, this is the only time that you have low insulin levels. You see that? Low insulin levels. See that? Okay. Versus this strategy, and I've done this. Since I've read these books, I've completely changed the way I've handled my business. I'd be like, oh, I'm hungry. What am I going to have? I'm going to have a cheese stick and an apple for a snack. I would have that quite a bit, actually. I'm going to have a cheese stick, and my weight was just kind of stubborn. Then when I read these books, I'm not in an insulin deficit enough. So here's one basic principle. You eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is it. No snacking between the meals, none. Because anytime you eat food, what happens to your insulin levels? It goes what? Up. So we need deficits. We need insulin deficits. So you eat breakfast, right? So I'm doing Kerrygold butter or Kerrygold coffee, not Kerrygold, bulletproof coffee. If you want to know what that is, Google that. It's a high-fat diet. So I eat one. I do no snacking. Okay. Lunch. I have lunch. I do no snacking, and then I eat dinner. And then I wake up in the morning, right? So I'm fasting, right? So I have low insulin levels. I wake up in the morning, and my breakfast is bulletproof coffee, which is basically coffee with a bunch of fats in it. And does fats increase your insulin levels? No. So literally from 6 p.m., right, until noon, my body's in a state of fast. And what I'm doing, though, this is for me. Okay, this is what I'm doing because I'm trying to mess around with my metabolism. 1 day a week, I'm doing a 24-hour fast. So I did my first fast on Tuesday. I ate at like 1 p.m., and I didn't have any food until noon because I'm trying to reset these hormones. Because when you talk about losing weight, Like if you eat less, what happens to your metabolic rate? It goes what? Down. This isn't what we're doing. This isn't a starvation diet. You're eating until you are hungry. You don't eat less. You eat 3 meals until you're hungry. You just don't snack between meals, so then you can be in a low insulin state or a deficit of insulin instead of having high insulin levels. Now, when you eat these 3 meals, of course, you don't want to eat like Cheerios for breakfast, a sandwich with bread for lunch, and then pasta for dinner. They need to be a little more strategic than that. Okay, you need to have some fat in them. So what we're doing, he's got a research study on this. In the 1970s, we were. It was basically a 50-50, insulin dominant to insulin deficit. Now we're basically what? Insulin dominant and a little bit of insulin deficient when we go to sleep. And most people now, if you do their labs on them, they're not even insulin deficient when they're sleeping. They have high insulin levels. And this thing is going on all the time. Okay, so here, you've probably heard all these things on how to lose weight right here. All these different things right here, right? Okay, everyone's tried every one of these, I'm sure. Eat 6 times, more vegetables, omega-3, low fat, eat breakfast. What do we need to do? Control hormones. Okay, so what are these things here that control hormones? You have to have a plan to control your hormones. First, know your numbers. How bad is it? Right? How bad is your problem? And then you can move from there. Now, obese moms put babies at risk. Obese women on insulin, sometimes that's it. Obese women pass on insulin resistance, average high insulin and sugar levels to their baby. Just makes sense, right? I mean, everything's passed on. Like if mom has high insulin levels, high glucose levels, what's the baby going to have? Same things. So, and I never actually got this concept until I actually read all these books. So it makes sense to me. So the babies are heavier. We have heavier babies. Like we have babies that are 6 years old that are obese, or like 6 months that are obese. What's happening? Like it's a metabolic problem. It's passed on. So then what happens here is then a lot of women don't breastfeed, so then they put on Similac. And what do you think Similac's full of? Corn syrup, solid, sugar, sucrose. Healthy or sick? Very sick. A patient came in to me last week, and she has a 2-year-old. She's like, you know what? The baby's still breastfeeding. At 2 years old, like everyone's telling me to stop. I'm like, stop when the baby's ready. Stop when you feel you're ready. Don't cave the pressure, right? There's like this stuff on media, like, oh, I can't breastfeed out in the public or wherever. Like, that's the woman who do that. That's the most nutrient-dense milk a baby's milk. That stuff is loaded with what? Fat, okay? God put that stuff in there for a reason. Okay, here's some insulin levels. These are just post-labs. Every time I've checked, this one came in, insulin of 23. We want it to be less than, or around 5. Was 23. We got her down to 4.1. I've showed you this one over here. This here is a diabetic. All these ones that we're checking here. Better down here. 14, 15.3, 16.8. We did some modifications. 5. So your blood cells and your blood live 90 days. Every 90 days they die. Okay? So when you have high sugar, sugar attaches to your red blood cells. You see that? So you're going to have a high A1C. If you implement this diet, the lifestyle that we're talking about, what happens to your sugar levels? They go down, and your what? A1C goes what? Down. Okay? You can decrease A1C levels all day long, and I do it. So here's one of my patients right here. She started off at 6.1, and here 5.4. Okay? Here's another one right here. She had lupus. She had an autoimmune disease right here. This is 6.3, and then we got her down to 5.4. Okay? I mean, these are things. These aren't drugs. This is like let's do some correct protocols. Let's figure out what's happening with your body. Okay. How do people